Hello. Good afternoon, good evening. I'd like to welcome Nathaly Salas. She's actually one of our leaders in the group, the Wolfpack here at EXP, one of my colleagues, and someone who really goes big on international real estate. And you got to live what you do. So she also lives between the U.S. and Mexico. Nathaly, welcome. I'd love to. Thanks for being here. First of all, and I'd love to hear your background and tell us all about you.
Thank you, Shane. Super excited to chat. So where should we start? Like, why do I do international real estate?
Oh, we could be here for days, right?
But
So how about let's start out with like how long have you been in real estate and tell us a little bit about your background, like where you grew up and kind of what got you in.
sure. I've been in real estate about 4 years since 2021, and I'm originally from Peru. Being in Chicago for 20 years, and before I was an agent, let's say professional agent, I was investing in flips, Airbnbs in Chicago, and I like you construction. I like getting dirty, getting things done, seeing how from nothing something becomes something beautiful. So I was experimenting with that when I was in corporate back in the day, and so I always was in touch with the real estate market in a way, but mostly through my friends and my realtor friends because they'll always come back with me like, "Hey, I have a good deal. This one is half the price that you will sell it for." And I would love to do flips like that in Chicago. When it used to be, the market used to be very, reasonable, and you could maybe double your money right away. So that was fun for me before I became an actual realtor.
Yeah, I guess it is very similar to my background. I mean, shoot, I started my first flip. I was 25 years old. It was just so much fun, and here I am, 25 years later. It's still fun. No, thanks for sharing that. I mean, look, from Peru to Chicago. How do you go to Chicago of all places from Peru?
Well, I took a plane. Just kidding. My parents moved here, so I was in my 20s, and my dad moved here for work, and we were family. My sister Marlon and I moved with him. We went to school here. We found jobs, and then eventually I realized that 20 years went by, and I was still there. So that's the reason I came. But I didn't pick it that like this is Chicago. This is where we're going. It was more about a family decision back then.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That's always interesting to hear how people end up in different places. Being Portuguese, and then even some of my, friends and colleagues here, we always joke around that, people from Portugal and Latin America and such are not fans of the cold. And I know it's a little cold up there in Chicago. It is a cool city, but it's also a little chilly. So it's always a fun joke, leaving the warm waters of Peru to be up in Chicago. But that makes sense. I mean, yeah, your dad had an opportunity, and everybody wants to chase the American dream, and my parents are immigrants. A lot of people do that. Well, look, I mean, you've been here, you're with us, you've been growing. I know that watching your travels, working internationally. What is your primary focus, here, currently? Like, what do you focus on? Like, what do you focus most of your energy on, and what's your favorite part of real estate?
So my favorite part is in I think creating education and providing a little bit more knowledge on how you buy abroad, because there's a lot of things that you can Google, right? But sometimes not everything that shines is gold, and especially when you go international, there's a lot of risks clients need to mitigate before they even get to the place. I realized that through my own purchase in Mexico, how not straightforward the market is when you will hope it to be,
Mm-hmm.
and how if you're not talking or working with the right people, your money can go missing, and there's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of challenges too, and you have to read in between the lines. Not everything is online. Nobody's gonna tell you what to do or how to do it unless they really have your interest in mind. And that's kind of has been my focus. So most of my channel in YouTube is focused on how do you buy real estate in fill in the blanks country. And because of that, I've been able to do like a market study for many of the countries EXP is in, and that has been my favorite thing to do. So learn it for myself, share it with others, and also showcase it in live in person tours. So that has been kind of my flow, and that generates, of course, referrals. That generates agent attraction, and that has been creating a community of it's a very tight network of we watch each other's backs. We want to, if we have any updates of like golden visa just went away in Portugal, or hey, they're giving this extra tax break in this country, your and a second passport, things like that. I think that's our community what it aligns with them the most. So that's kind of my favorite.
That's funny you say that because obviously, going back to Portugal and other places, I love to travel, right? So it's like, this idea of education and coaching people on what to do to, be able to make that happen. I mean, that's just like it's fun, right? Because then you actually go to those countries to learn it and collaborate, and that's a lot of fun. But on the same token, something you said, about the fact that you can't Google all this stuff, you're just giving another reason that people keep talking about the fact that in our industry we'll never be replaced by AI or that
Yeah.
that big company that I'm not going to say the name that starts with a Z. But anyway, yeah, this is exactly why it makes a difference and why we're always going to be needed, especially if we're well informed and we can, lead with value and educate. That's actually a great idea, and I've never even thought about the fact that we already educate people about coming into our own communities, but why not actually go out and educate people about how to buy in other countries? I mean, that's brilliant. So, I mean, do you have an idea how many countries you've covered at this point?
I think right now on record we have about 20 countries where I have done the market study and or talked to the agents out in the field. And I mean EXP is in now 27 countries, so I'm catching up. And but that's only been intentionally for the past 4 years. So ever since I started real estate, my intention was like I want to do international. Like I don't want to sell Chicago. Chicago's nice, and I've been there, done that. I know the market very well. I can refer it very well as well. But we have really good agents here that do it full time, and they're always here available for our clients. But I don't want to be here all year long. So if I have the freedom of being here to serve our clients or guidance in the process, for sure I'm here. But I'm always available online. And of course, I like to be somewhere else that is warmer because I'm from South America. So I don't want to be in the cold anymore. And I was wondering myself, I was like, what am I doing in Chicago all these years? I travel all over the US, and I was trying to maybe move one day. I was like, California, maybe, New York, maybe in Miami. But then nothing clicked like Chicago. Like Chicago is home. Uh, and then I discovered Riviera Maya. And then when you see with different eyes, you're like, huh, this is nice. I could live here. And when you start thinking from that perspective, when you go to a new place, instead of thinking about a vacation place that you're only there for 3 to 4 days, then you can picture yourself living there. Where do you go for groceries? How do you transport yourself? Where's the closest airport? The closest hospital, even just in case. And all these things that make you think about, living there. Many people have the same question. So that's how we've been able to relate to other people that want to change locations, but they don't know where to start.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And you obviously lived it, and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen what I've had to go through. I should make this easy for the next person. That makes a lot of sense. And so, Riviera Maya, now that you've been down there, have you actually met a lot of agents there and met a lot of people? Have you helped people move there because you're so excited about it? Like, are people catching on to your enthusiasm?
Well, yeah, so a few people, like several people have purchased already some land, or maybe before they met me or after we met each other. We have a very large expat community in Playa del Carmen from all over the world. So it's like a mini hub for everybody from Europe, North America, South America. And so it's a nice place. It feels like Chicago too, because Chicago, we have many people from many places. And because of that, I think creating that community is what attracts others to join. They're like, hey, what do you guys do here? You guys, you don't miss Chicago? And I'm like, I miss Chicago here and there, but it's not like I'm gonna die if I'm not there. So I was like,
Especially while you're laying on the beach in the sun, right?
exactly.
30 degrees in Chicago. You're like, I'm good.
Yeah, no, and I've been through so many winters. Like I think there gets to a point that you're like, what am I doing this? I mean, there's gotta be another way to life. Uh, you don't have to be suffering through your day or through your winters if you can get creative around it, right? Like if you can work from home, or if you're about to retire, or if you have a family, even if you have kids, you can still travel with kids to many places, and there, communities that are very friendly and they have schools that are bilingual. So there is no excuse. So if you or your client or anybody out there or any agent wants to do this, it's not that hard to do, and they can start at home at the beginning. So you don't have to be traveling all the time like I am. But if you have limited time, you can still learn everything online, uh, plug in with the community online, send those referrals, make money on the side, and also build a life that you want to live. Maybe in the 2 to 5 year range. That is not going to be 20 years after you live a life of retirement. It will be more like into 3, 5 if you have everything structured. So we guide most of our agents through that process of what would be like doing a plan that you can remove yourself from the business a little bit, not necessarily 100%, but at least take 2 to 3 months to just explore some other areas so you can speak about it with your clients. And that makes the agent locally at least, more knowledgeable on what are the comparables out there, not only from their city, other states, but other countries. And that brings back home, like, hey, do you know you can retire in Mexico for $200,000? You can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house by the beach. And the property taxes are like 1/10 the price. That kind of like makes people curious about, I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and honestly, it's and I see this even with people that with the amount of movement to Portugal and such. I see this all the time, like just the curiosity. Well, what would that look like? And no, it's shoot. I mean, the thing that I love that we can do within our organization is the fact that we are cloud based and can be anywhere. I still do a lot of production and I'm very involved here in these two markets that I serve, and so I haven't quite been able to get out as much as I'd like. Now, because you are mainly traveling and you're not necessarily in production, are you building a community of other agents that are doing the same, or are you finding yourself, bringing in people that are in production as well?
Both, because there's always needs to be somebody on the ground that will take the lead and is able to serve a client year round. So those are the agents that probably have a family, they they don't want to travel, they don't like it, or they love their city. And we do need that half of half of the business to be stable somewhere, and maybe the other half can go and be like a little butterfly everywhere. Not everybody can be a butterfly, because then who closes the deals at home, right? So, but that's how we connect with other agents, and we kind of like partner up in a way that everybody focuses on whatever they want to focus on. So if I want to be, I like people, I like transactions, I like inspections, I like being there. Then partner up with somebody who can bring leads to that market. So then it will be like a partnership for that in a just a referral, one per deal basis.
Got it. So then, I mean, being that you have a mix of both, like, so what's like the culture like in your organization? Like, what is, how do, like, what's the inner workings? Because obviously you're traveling a lot, discovering new markets and such. Like, how's your organization? Like, how's the culture? How do they stay plugged in? Do you find people sticking around and wanting to also bring people in?
Yeah. So our organization is pretty, I will say, we're very free spirit in a way, and very ambitious too, because we're working like 7 days a week as well. But sometimes you can choose where you want to focus your interest or where you want to focus your energy. So our group right now, my downline is about 27 right now. Out of those, probably 4 or 5 focus on international. We're a very small group compared to the size of EXP and the size of many brokerages, but that is very niche. So people start remembering you as a crazy lady international. Like it's not like it stands out a little bit. So then by having the knowledge, understanding the market, then you can guide other agents to maybe understand and educate. We have weekly calls every Thursday morning. So it can, span through several time zones all the way to Europe and sometimes Asia. And once we have those calls, we keep it consistently about international real estate, and we change the market. So we cover 2 countries per month, and we go really deep in the country. We do a market study. So all about data, the day one. What is the market like, demographics, where you can live, cities that are hot right now, what to be mindful of, risk, benefits, immigration, legal. And then day number 2, we do comparables, because we don't have an MLS in many countries. So how do you find the real data, the comparables? Usually when they sell in Mexico, they don't record that sale in the city. Well, how do you know what was the price? Nobody knows the price. You can guess the price, you can estimate the price, but you're not always certain that that's the real price. So you have to be guessing. So what we do, the comparables, the CMAs that you in the US click one button and you get a report. Over there, we have to do them manually. Even with AI, even with technology, we still have to put them together so they can make sense to the client, so they can see this, city in this zip code. These are kind of the average pricing, and that's what we share with the group. So it's knowledge application, so you can keep an eye for referrals. And one day, if you want to move there, travel there, do a tour, or bring a client, at least you have more information than you had, without knowing that.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And so basically, I recently had learned, because I didn't realize, like in Mexico, for instance, like the lack of recording sales and stuff. I just learned about that recently. And so it's like talking to you today and what I've already heard, like I could see the value. Like I could see the value more than ever, especially for foreigners that are trying to buy in a country like Mexico. That's crazy, right? Because if you end up with someone that might be a little shady and they tell you, yeah, this is 500,000, this is a deal, it might be only worth 200, they
Yep.
wouldn't even know. So I could see the value. But I mean, based on what you're saying, it just seems like since your group is very niche, you sound like a tight knit group. Basically, it sounds like about 20-25% of your group does international. It means your goal really to just grow a massive group and cover a bunch of countries. Is that like where you're headed?
So yeah, my goal is to have at least 1 or 2 agents in every country EXP is in, at least, so we can get into the database. And I have a background in technology, so everything I talk about and I think about goes right away about system CRM automations to see how we can leverage anything that we have and multiply it. So my group right now is small, but when we go to the conferences that are international, that we connect with other people that are in the same mindset for international, so we kind of like create WhatsApp groups. So I'm a advocate for WhatsApp groups because then that's how you can create a community. Then you can bring it to school community, which we have a school community. I'll share with you. For anybody, it's free. They want to learn more about international. They can plug in. They don't have to be part of EXP, but if you're part of a different agency, it's better if you have the knowledge and you help your client through the process than if you don't and your client goes on their own and then they suffer, they lose money. So it's better if you know a little bit more than if you don't. So for me, it's super important educating everybody on the process. And that creates like an ecosystem for us to help agents. Sometimes agents join us from those groups or tours. And also the WhatsApp communities is where we meet people in person. So we met in person. I know you, you know me, and then we're now here. So I can stay top of mind and they stay top of mind because one thing is being in Instagram or Googling somebody. And the other thing is like, I remember you and me in 2024 in the conference in Lisbon, and we talk about this and that. So then it's a different type of report that you do. So I can refer them faster. So I always have somebody in top of mind for referrals in every area that we're in. And that helps the community and the money making because you can travel, but if you don't make money, you might struggle. But you can also, if you structure things correctly, you can get paid to travel. So it's just a different mindset. I think that everything that you want to do, you can do. It's a matter of structuring things that you have everything covered by the time that you take off.
That's amazing. This is like, obviously it looks like it's working out really well. Looks like it's a lot of fun. But come on, let's be real, right? With life, there's always like the dark side or challenges or things that come up. What would you say has been like some of the bigger challenges or maybe the harder truths to face while on this mission around the world?
So I think the hard part is reading between the lines and the legal part of things. There's some countries that are more corrupted than others, and some of them are more visible. Then you need to know how to operate there, and or ask your partners locally. Don't make any assumptions because sometimes when you're like you think you know and you don't know, and you're not local either, people will find that out and just find a way to take advantage of you in a way. So national real estate definitely has like a lot of risks. I would say that you have to be super mindful, ask many questions to many people so you can get the same story or at least an overlap of a story. And at that point, you find the truth of, what you're asking. So that is one. The second one is retention for agents. Sometimes agents in other countries, they don't need a license. So anybody can be an agent. So if you wake up one day, like like you were saying, I'm a waitress today and tomorrow I'm an agent and you don't need a license. Okay, absolutely no. I support everybody changing careers and starting from scratch, but that person might not be qualified to help a client that is from a different country and they don't even understand the part of law or immigrations that will affect the client and they just want to sell them anything. So that's super touchy for the industry. So in 2021 and 2022, due to the pandemic, in the Riviera Maya, there was a lot of migration from Americans there. Many people purchase in certain ways, certain things, and some of them were not finished. They were, the developments were selling all these properties in pre-construction and they didn't deliver. So they made the whole area look bad. And let's say people will think that Mexico is not a good investment because they lost money or the project wasn't finished. And that happens every day. So we have to be super mindful of, what we recommend to our clients. And the homework for, at least in our markets, is we have to vet the inventory like first before we offer it to the client and not the other way around because not everything that, is in the market is a good buy.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And I guess before we move off from that subject, quick question. talking about corrupt and everything else. You know, eh, fear can really affect markets, right? And it's like warnings about international travel and certain countries, certain areas, and everything. Like, look, I mean, because of all the conspiracies, all the other crazy stuff that goes out there, like you go to a lot of these countries, a lot of these areas. Now, how do you feel safety wise? And does what you see on the news and hear about really match with what you see abroad?
Yeah, it's all propaganda for the US. I feel like, I mean, comparing every country has propaganda in their own way,
Right.
but I feel like at least in the US, they're protecting their citizens to stay here, right? Like they don't want you to come to Mexico. It's dangerous, and there's a danger part of Mexico for sure. Like, but if you are savvy enough, you can watch, observe, you can know where to go and where not to go. I'm from Peru, so to me, Mexico is not dangerous. Lima is dangerous, but it's just a perspective thing. And usually in the touristic areas where we are, usually is very safe. There are more shootings in the US than actually where we live in Mexico, in that area at least. So it just depends how you define danger. And of course, there's a lot of propaganda. There's bad advertising for many places.
Mhm.
It's to me, it's just being smart of where you go, how you travel. Of course, don't be so naive or don't be buying drugs so openly. Otherwise you might get in trouble. Or don't be selling it either. There's like in Chicago, there's certain territories that you don't touch and you don't go. And
South Chicago, right?
yeah, in Chicago, people think like I'm crazy for living in Chicago for so many years because I think it's dangerous. And I'm like, well, no, nothing ever happened here, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen over there.
Yeah.
So it's more about perspective, being smart of where you go, what you do, who you deal with. Don't carry too much cash. Think basic stuff. Like you will do in your home anyways. So it just varies, and each country has their own thing. So be informed, connect with a local. Get the advice
Mhm.
that somebody who will be honest about it. Because when I was in Ecuador the last time in Quito, I didn't know much about the country, and I thought maybe it was like Lima. But at 8 p.m. everything closed and everybody was home, and I was like, "What's going on here?" It's like like toque de queda. I don't know how you say in English when they stop. Everybody has to go home a certain time.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's that curfew.
Curfew, yes. So I felt like something was happening. I was like, and you feel like something is going on, right? But I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So I asked my friend's mom that she lives there. I'm like, hey, what happens around? Why nobody's in the street by 9? Then like, well, it's a little bit dangerous. You shouldn't go on the street at this time at this place if you're in this location. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was in the middle of the town in the center,
Mhm.
and then I realized I'm like, oh shit, this is not a safe area. But I didn't know until I was there. But again, it all depends perspective. Just be mindful. Don't go out and if you know that that's the case. So each country has their thing, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
think being smart about it.
I mean, I was just bringing that up just in the perspective that, obviously people are considering where to retire, where to live, and there's always these warnings for vacationers and stuff. But I was just curious because that obviously can influence real estate markets.
Of course, yeah.
That was just kind of one of my reasonings for that. Now, kind of circling back more to like our company and everything else. You've been here for what, about 4 years here at
Yeah. Wait.
EXP. So what drew you to this company?
At the beginning was technology because as I shared with you before when we were offline, I struggle quite a bit when I wanted to buy in Mexico with an American mindset, let's say, because when you go to a different country, you kind of have to adjust to the timing and the process of the country. I didn't know, I had no background. So when I was searching for a place in Mexico, I had to work with 3 different agents, and none of them would tell me a straight story, like, or what is the process. And because of that, when I came back to the US, I mean, we ended up buying a pre-construction, but we didn't know if that was gonna get finished. We didn't know the developer, and you're giving $50,000, and you don't know if you just give it away or you just, you're actually buying something. So that, how would you call it? Like uncertainty. I think clients shouldn't feel that way.
Mhm.
Because of that, I came to Chicago and I discovered that EXP existed because I wasn't in the real estate space before. And when I learned about all the tools, the technology, and that I was able to do international real estate, so I can just bring clients from the US to Mexico, to me it was a no brainer. And I went to get my license then. So it happened to me the other way around. So I discovered EXP and then I went for my license so I can join EXP, so I can use the systems and do the international piece. So
Mhm.
backwards, but still here.
Well, I mean, obviously you landed in the right place when it comes to technology. I mean, since you've been here and been part of this group, what's your experience been like, and how is it versus what you expected?
So XP has been great because I didn't know we had so many tools and we were so many countries. My initial thought was if I can just bring clients from the US to Mexico, that's great. And then I realized there were more countries, that were back then were 24, I think. And I was like, wait, I can operate in 24 countries and I don't have to incorporate in every single country. That is a plus because I don't like doing my taxes in every single country. And in some countries, you have to do it every month. In Mexico, you have to do it every month. And I'm like, well, I barely want to do it once a year, imagine once a month. So
I didn't even know that. You just taught me something new. That's crazy.
yeah, and then before I knew about EXP, I had incorporated in Mexico as a type of LLC, but I didn't know what I was doing because just the attorney told me to do it that way. I mean, just because she was going to charge me probably. But then I didn't realize that I had to declare my taxes every single month there. And that's when I was like, oh no. And when I discovered EXP, all the simplification, I can just send referrals within the country. I'm like, that makes it so much easier because my cost to operate this business is not that, it's not high. And I can just, open the box and I'm ready to go. So to me, that was the biggest benefit of technology. And now with the Wolfpack, I feel like it's day and night from any other brokerage I've seen, like from my friends that I know from other brokerages. They just don't know what they don't have until you see it. And to me, when I saw it, I was like, you cannot unsee it. And with all the training that we have, the community, the masterminds, and then just the technology, of course. But when you group all that, you can actually grow your business consistently and over time without paying a coach, $20,000 a year to train you on all these tools that we already get for free. So that's to me the most value that I don't have to, spend more money out of pocket to run my business. And I can get all the tools and I can pick and choose from a whole menu of what I want to learn today or what I want to focus on: production, agent attraction, social media, YouTube. And then that's how we grow. And that's how our personal brand has grown so far.
Yeah, well, that's amazing that you landed in the right place. I had a call earlier, and I was talking to one of our colleagues, and it was interesting because him and I both landed in the right place. It's interesting how you're looking for something, and sometimes you end up getting there, and not only getting the something you're looking for, but then other things you didn't even realize that would be so amazing. And I've been blessed to have landed here. Obviously working with people like yourself and some of our other great colleagues. It's been just such a welcoming family. Uh, it makes it easy, right? When you're talking to other people, you're so excited, and it's like you have to believe in what you're selling, right? And so it's like you plugged in somewhere that you totally believe in, and that's obviously helping your growth.
Yeah.
So I mean, essentially, like you've kind of told us a little about where you're headed, what your goals are, and such, and currently you're just continuing to try and build that. I mean, long term, you have your goals, but then as far as like when you talk about possibly retiring or, what's coming up in 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, isn't this like the kind of thing that you just don't need to retire? Isn't it fun? Like,
Yeah.
do you see yourself like working hard for 2 or 3 years and then just being like, okay, I'm done, autopilot, whatever?
No, I love what I do. And I think like my team and we love what we do because to me, it's more about changing people's lives in a way, like I share with you. It's planting seeds in people around the world on how you can maybe see life a little bit differently. Uh, and then real estate is just a vehicle, it's just a result of maybe adjusting your life to make a different this speed or stress less. Or why am I in Chicago? I mean, like, do I need to live in Chicago? It costs me maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a month to live here versus if I move somewhere else, it's 1,200 to 2,000. So I'm already saving some money, and that extra surplus either lasts you more time, or you can travel with that, or you can have more experiences. So it's a matter of how we think about life in that way. So my goals have been like just creating the curiosity over time. Want to be pushing the gas for the next 5 years nonstop on bringing awareness about international real estate, education, create a community, and as I shared earlier, we do have a school community that is only for international real estate agents that are curious to learn more. They don't have to be only from EXP, it's open to anybody. And because of that community, we bring those in-person meetings and tours. So we have real estate tours worldwide, and we have this. It's like a conference on the road. So you get to see, let's say, if you like in December we have Riviera Maya. In Riviera Maya, in 4 days, you have a crash course on where to go, what to do, what to sell, how much it is, and how does it look like. And you can go home with a very big understanding of like what is the market there first. I think nobody can speak more unless you live it. So these in-person tours are super important for our community to not only bring it together from the Zoom to the in-person experience, but also to see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is a penthouse right here, ocean view for $2 million, and it's like a 6 bedroom, place, versus how much will this be in Miami? Maybe 4 times that. And then that's when you start realizing, oh, okay, now I see the difference in the market. If you're going north to Merida, you can find homes for under 200,000, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. So these are little things that, unless somebody showcases out there and shares it with the world, nobody knows. So I think it's knowledge that is good to bring out to the, to the people, to our community. So that's my goal. Getting our community, the bigger the better, because the more advocates we have for international real estate, the more they can go back home and spread, the word. And then having the in-person in touch, because that's super important, after being isolated, I think, for so long during COVID, that now people want that human connection, and that cannot be replaced with technology or AI. People are still going to look for community. They're still going to be looking for, a brotherhood or a tribe. So it's very important to me to connect those two. And of course, just continue doing them. And I literally don't have to retire from this, but if I have to, I mean, like, we're building revenue share on the way. So one, the other are referrals. And the tours also help to bring that attention to those agents locally that they cannot get loud enough because nobody hears them. They're like they have their following in their city that they're in. But that doesn't cross so many borders. With social media, it does now with advertising. But they're really good at what they do. They have really good product, but then they don't have that reach, let's say. So because of the tours, they get that attention, they get that visibility, and that brings, leads and sales back to the local area as well. So it helps everybody, agents to learn more, buyers to buy, something more reasonable or bigger, and then agents locally to generate sales that maybe that they wouldn't have had if it wasn't for a tour.
So you're like obviously you become quite the expert like in Riviera Maya, and you're kind of making your way around the world. So, I mean, I definitely appreciate it. I mean, I've learned a lot about you. I didn't even realize to the depth that you were doing this. I mean, if someone wants to hook up with you, not just to like buy a place in Riviera Maya, but if they want to team up or work with you or be part of your group, what's the best way to reach you?
So Instagram is the fastest, or I can also, leave my phone. It's 888-483-7779. That goes to our CRM, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And because every time I leave my cell phone online because so many spam calls. And my name is Nathaly Salas _ in Instagram. Anybody who can reach out, we can also share the link with you to school, so they can go straight to school, register, it's free. So no pressure, and you'll get all our calls weekly there. Whether you want to join information about Dubai, Portugal, Mexico, Peru, anywhere in the world, we'll have weekly calls addressing those, so they can learn more before they go in-person tours.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. This is great. In fact, I definitely need to, download some more with you after just talking about all this today. I'm over here trying to reinvent the wheel. I should have just called Napoli. You know what I mean? Like, you were on the legwork in these markets, and I really didn't think anybody was doing it. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and appreciate all your time.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
You too. And Miami's coming up too, right?
Well, I'll see you there.
Yeah.